Today we're going to look at the Benjamin Moore paint color Chelsea Gray, and in this episode of Color Quickie, what I'm going to do is give you the need-to-know information on it, and also an entire color palette that I built for it specifically, including some trim color options and some color pairings. So if that sounds awesome to you, press that like button and let's get right into this video. So to start things off, this is a paint color that's part of the historical HC color collection by Benjamin Moore. An awesome color palette that has been around for a while, but has this lovely timeless quality to it in general. And Chelsea Gray is no different, which is interesting because gray is in the name, which leads you to believe gray, kind of overdone, boring, we're over it. But I love Chelsea Gray. I think it's a color that has a little bit of nuance to it. It has some warm qualities to it. It's one of those chameleon colors that can sometimes look a little bit green leaning, other times looking a little more purple leaning. It has this wonderful volatility that I really enjoy, and also that makes it really important to test before you use it. I usually save this spiel for later on in the video, but I'm gonna tell you right now, before you get a really big can of paint, get a little tiny itty bitty one to test it out first. So Chelsea Gray has an LRV, or a light reflectance value, of 23.33, and this means that it reflects 23% of the light that hits it. And if you don't know how I got that number, on the Benjamin Moore website, or any major paint company basically, they'll tell you what the LRV is. And this is a number you really need to key in on if you're new to the channel, because the lower this number is, the darker the color will appear, putting Chelsea Gray in the bottom quarter of paint colors in terms of lightness or darkness. It's dark enough that I feel this color will work better in the more secondary kind of parts of your home rather than the main parts, like the main living areas, like your hallway and all that. The amount of depth that it has means it won't reflect a ton of light back into the space, so you're gonna have to compensate with either natural light through windows and skylights if you're lucky enough, or just artificial lighting in the form of your overhead lighting or floor lamps, accent lighting, things like that. What I really do like about Chelsea Gray is it has this sort of transitional quality to it where, yes, it is gray at its core, but it has a bit of that earthy brown mixed in as well. So you're not limited to just cool color palettes that are more grayscale and monochromatic. You can introduce it into warmer color palettes and have it sort of be that differentiator to sort of balance cool and warm. It's a color that doesn't really get talked about enough, I think. So let's get into these color pairings, including some trim color options and then the wall color pairings. And right before we do that, I do want to mention our Patreon, which is live. We have exclusive content that you can only find there, released every single Sunday to our diehard Paint People viewers. Our community of Patreon members is growing every single week, so link below if you want to join us. You get exclusive access to bonus videos, and if you're a Prime member, you get your own mini color quickie from me every 3 months. Link in the description down below. Check it out. Trim color time. So the first option I would recommend you is Wedding Veil. And this is going to be your white baseboard choice, which is probably going to be the choice for a lot of you. This is kind of a default option. White trim is just clean. It's simple. It's going to pop off of nearly any wall color you put on it because of how light it is. And I like Wedding Veil specifically because it has this subtlety to it. Like looks like it's a little bit creamy, but it actually has a slightly cool undertone, which feeds into Chelsea Gray's sort of duality of warm and cool, which I think is really, really nice. And if you wanted something darker, maybe for the doors, or you just want dark baseboards and trim, Deep Creek would be my option. And this color shares some similarities to Chelsea Gray, although I feel it's a little more forward with the brown aspect. And it is a dark brown. It's a chalky, sort of dusty, taupey brown because it's combined with gray as well. And interestingly enough, in each description, they use the word handsome to describe the colors. So yeah, a bit of a handsome color pairing here. Okay, now what about the actual color pairings? So other paint colors for different parts of your home to sort of coexist with Chelsea Gray. Number one would be Wish. Now, this would be my main color choice 100%. I think it's an awesome coordinating color for the main parts of the home, and that's because you get more lightness. It has a 58, nearly 59 LRV, so it's gonna reflect quite a bit more light. It has some richness to it, but it still kind of feels powdery and pastel-y, like it's just a bit of a hiding in the background blank canvas color that I really enjoy. But if you're really wanting to lean into some of those earthy grays, well, Wayne's Boro Taupe would be my next choice. And this color is really, really nice. It is lighter than Chelsea Gray. It also feels totally warmer. It's in the name. It's more of a taupe leaning kind of color where you definitely have brown with that sort of gray to tone it down. And there is that warm sort of tan gold undertone coming through that really brightens it up, especially when you put it next to Chelsea Gray. Then you can really see the difference in color temperature. This effect is accentuated even more with our third color, Venetian Portico. One of my favorites in this sort of color category, these more orange leaning colors, still kind of an earthy color as well. There's definitely that sort of through line happening here, but you have very little gray to speak of whatsoever in this color. It is more saturated, has more of a punch to it, and it does have that sort of light clay orange quality that I think is beautiful. 42 LRV, so not too dark either. It's going to reflect quite a bit of light. And what this color really brings is that zinginess, just to sort of cut through the neutrality of the other colors in the palette. Speaking of the color palette, here it is all together. Please let me know what you think. And we got another video right over here.